Damas y caballeros, ahora con ustedes,
Cristina Pérez!
Bienvenidos. Welcome to MABA's 61st annual installation of Officers and Awards Ceremony. I am Cristina Pérez, a proud MABA member and also a MABA past president. Normally, you all know we would be gathered together at the Biltmore Hotel, hosting what is traditionally MABA's biggest fundraiser of the year. But the pandemic has made this year a very different one. So tonight is still a very special evening for so many reasons. We continue to celebrate MABA, its traditions, and what it means to us and our communities. It's our first virtual installation and award ceremony. And we have the opportunity to honor and highlight 4 incredible Latino professionals who have made incredible contributions, not only in California, but nationwide. The theme for tonight's event in our 2021 MABA year is Familia, Comunidad y Esperanza, Family, Community, and Hope. Reflecting over the last year, we appreciate that what matters most is our family, our community, and hope for a better future. And remembering that life should be about the simple things that matter most. We want to thank all of our sponsors and welcome your continued contributions throughout the year. With your support, with our sponsor support, MABA is able to continue its work through the year, including putting on virtual programming that will provide scholarships for Latino students. If you have not done so already, please donate to MABA. It's very easy. All you need to do is go to our MABA website and click the donate link. As is customary in every installation, we honor our immediate past president. I would like to introduce 2020 MABA President Marissa Hernandez-Stern. Thanks to Marissa's extraordinary vision and leadership, in early 2020, MABA held one of its most successful installation dinners, and plans were underway for a traditional year of programming. When the pandemic hit, however, Marissa quickly pivoted and led the 2020 board in transitioning MABA to remote life and virtual programming. Despite a challenging year, Marissa and the 2020 board had incredible accomplishments. They awarded 8 judicial externship program scholarships and 7 high school scholarships. They hosted over 20 MCLE sessions, educational programs, and mixers. And they conducted our very first ever virtual California bar swearing in for Latino law students, and elevated MABA's social media presence. Thank you, Marissa, for your commitment, your dedication, your friendship, and your leadership.
Hello, my name is Marisa Hernandez-Stern, and I am the outgoing MABA 2020 president. I would first like to congratulate MABA's 2021 president, Monica Guisar. Monica, I have worked alongside you on MABA's board, and especially this past year when you were president-elect, and I have every confidence that you are going to be a most excellent leader, and MABA is in the most capable and excellent of hands. I would also like to congratulate the 2021 board. I also have no doubt that you all will contribute your time, your talent, and your treasure to this very amazing organization. To our honorees, to Secretary Mayorkas, Senator Padilla, Dr. Ferrer, and to the Honorable Enrique Romero, congratulations on your much-deserved and merited awards. And to our 2021 MABA Judicial Externship Program Scholarship recipients, congratulations. Having now had the opportunity to virtually meet each one of you, I know each of you is incredibly deserving of this opportunity, of this scholarship, and that you all are going to do amazing things this summer and beyond in your law careers. To MABA's 2020 board, thank you so much for your incredible support during what was a very unprecedented year. We could not obviously have anticipated what happened, but each of you rose to the occasion and ensured that you put aside time to advance MABA's mission, to support our programming, whether that meant being on a panel, putting on a panel, interviewing candidates for judicial endorsement or for political office. Each of you contributed so much to our organization, and I am so incredibly grateful for that. I'd also like to specifically thank our administrator, Claudia Perez. You have done an amazing job working from home alongside the rest of us to ensure that we are meeting the needs of our MABA membership. Thank you for all that you do. Now, while I will no longer be MABA's president and on the board, I am not leaving you all so quickly. I will continue to be involved with MABA, of course, supporting this absolutely wonderful organization, but I will also continue to co-chair MABA's Judicial Externship Program. Many of you know that this is a program that is near and dear to me and that I have helped run for the past 10 years. If you have not considered making a financial contribution, I would really urge you to do so. Please take a look at the biographies of our amazing scholarship recipients and consider supporting them. Every single dollar that you donate, which is tax deductible, goes to scholarships. So please consider making a donation. If you have any questions, as you have no doubt heard me say at many programs and our newsletter and any outlet where I can say it, contact me. I would be more than happy to talk to you about the program. Again, congratulations to Monica, the 2021 board, all the award recipients this evening, our scholarship recipients, and my sincere thanks to the 2020 board. I look forward to continuing to support this important and wonderful organization. Thank you.
Welcome, Marissa, to the Past Presidents Club. Now to the first award of this year's installation, the Benito Juarez Attorney of the Year Award. The Benito Juarez Attorney of the Year Award is given to members of the legal community who have demonstrated exceptional accomplishments in their respective field. This year, MABA is extremely proud to honor the Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas. He is the first Latino and immigrant to hold the position of Secretary of Homeland Security. He is the perfect example of the depth of presence and power that exists in our immigrant communities. Born in Cuba to Jewish parents and a mother who escaped the Holocaust, Mr. Mayorkas was raised in Southern California, painfully aware of the obstacles facing his family's American success story. Through his Romanian-born mother, whose relatives were murdered by the Nazis, Mr. Mayorkas discovered the horrors that can unfold when refugees cannot flee to safety. Through his Cuban-born father, he learned that someone can still love a country and still feel compelled to leave it forever. A graduate of Loyola Law School in Los Angeles, Mr. Mayorkas is a former federal prosecutor, a former Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security, a former Director of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services under the Obama-Biden administration, and most recently was with the law firm of Wilmer and Hale. As the Obama administration's highest-ranking Cuban American, Mr. Mayorkas was on the Latino Leaders 2015 list for the nation's most influential Latinos. In 2008, the National Law Journal recognized him as one of the 50 most influential minority lawyers in America. Now, over the last 4 years, some of the most cruel and inhumane immigration policies were implemented under the last administration. Under Secretary Mayorkas' leadership, we know immigrants will be treated with compassion under the law. It is my pleasure to introduce a friend of MABA, Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
Thank you all very much for this extraordinary award, this special honor of which I am incredibly proud. I am especially proud because it comes from all of you, the Mexican American Bar Association. You are an organization of lawyers and also an organization of identity. As lawyers, we are all guided by our deep sense of justice and our desire to achieve it. As an organization of identity, we carry with us a special obligation. Identity is something that I have thought about quite a bit throughout my government service, especially when I started here in Washington, D.C. as the Director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. I grew up with a profound sense of my own identity as a political refugee, a family that had left Cuba to enjoy the freedoms and opportunities that America offered, to escape communism where those freedoms and opportunities were to be suffocated. When I took a trip to the Kenyan-Somali border to a refugee camp there called Dadaab, it shook my sense of identity. I saw individuals who had nothing, many of whom had spent more than a decade in the camp with the remote hope of reaching the United States or another country of refuge. And I came to this country with a father who was educated in the States, with a baseline of opportunity already with me. And it caused me to question whether I could call myself a refugee when I saw individuals in Africa with so little, with frankly virtually nothing. And I contemplated that a great deal. I determined that I was no less a refugee because I had not suffered as much as they had, but that I had a profound obligation to achieve things that reflected well on who I am, who my parents were, and for the individuals who paved the path of opportunity before me. People like a Cesar Chavez, people like a Dolores Huerta, people in my own lifetime who've impacted my career so profoundly, like Antonio Hernandez or Ken Salazar. What we do reflects on who we are, and I feel now, as the Secretary of Homeland Security, a special obligation to bring honor to the community of which I am a part, to my heritage, to our collective identity, and now to bring honor to this special award that you have given me. I will work incredibly hard to do so. I am profoundly grateful, and I thank you and look forward to the day that I can express my gratitude and pride to you in person. Thank you very much.
Now to the installation of our 2021 MABA board. It is my pleasure to introduce Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Serena Murillo to administer the oath to the board. Judge Murillo is an accomplished member of the bench. She's co-chair of the Los Angeles Superior Court's Latino Judicial Officers Association and a member of the California Latino Judges Association.
Good afternoon. I want to thank Cristina Perez Gonzalez for her gracious introduction. It's my honor and privilege to be here to swear in the incoming MABA board. The fact that I'm doing this for MABA's first ever virtual installation speaks not only to everything that we as a community have overcome since last year's installation, but it's also a testament to the extraordinary leadership shown by the outgoing board and president for demonstrating such courage, vision, and once again, resilience during such trying times. Looking to the future, it's important for us to remember that all great change is followed by a period of reconstruction and renewal. I look forward to seeing what the new board and president, how they will meet this period with energy and zeal as we all work toward empowering the Latino community through our greater service. Now it is my pleasure to swear in the 2021 MABA Executive Officers and Board of Trustees. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly promise to faithfully execute the duties as a board member of the Mexican American Bar Association of Los Angeles County, to uphold its bylaws and to promote its mission statement?
I do.
I will.
Our next award is the Edward R. Roybal Public Service Award. This award is given annually to members of the legal community and/or public figures who have demonstrated exceptional accomplishments in their respective fields that they were elected to or appointed to lead. It is my pleasure to introduce a longtime friend of MABA and one of my favorite people, City of Los Angeles Council Member Gil Cedillo. He will present the Edward R. Roybal Public Service Award to the first Mexican-American United States Senator of California, Alex Padilla, another Latino who proudly empowers our community.
Good evening, MABA. Congratulations on your event tonight, and let me tell you that it's an incredible honor for me at this moment to be able to introduce the first Mexican-American senator to the U.S. Senate from California. It should be also an honor for MABA. MABA has played a very significant role in the political life of Alex Padilla. Alex Padilla, of course, is the son of a short order cook and of a housekeeper. A product of public schools, he went on to MIT to receive his degree in engineering. We know that. But what's not known is the role that MABA played in his first election as a young, new city councilman from the San Fernando Valley. I remember the phone call that we received on our recorder at home, a call from Alex Padilla, who said that he was going to run for city council. We knew Alex because he had managed my first campaign for political office. He and my wife ran the office on Whittier and Euclid in Laurel Heights, and we loved Alex like our son. And we knew of his talent and his potential. When we received that call, we said, of course. We called him back and left him a message and said, of course, we're in. And then I proceeded to call my friends from MABA, Patty Nieto, now a judge, and Tim Martella, the law firm of R. Samuel Paz, Emma Castro, Teresa Sanchez Gordon. I called my friends from Culture Clash. Herbert Seguenza showed up. Of course, Patty supplied the artwork and the food with the future owner of Rivera's restaurant downtown. He catered Alex's event. And I remember that event. Steve Sonora was there as well, and many other members of MABA. And I remember that event distinctly because it was in Silver Lake. The house had artwork all over that Herbert was selling so we could support Alex. The food was catered, as I said, by John Sedler Rivera. And we're very excited to meet this young man. I was so much a proponent and advocate for Alex Padilla at the time. And I brought him, I remember bringing him in, and I remember us walking into the big area, the big dining area, living room area that Patty had set up for the reception. And I remember him looking, and he was so impressed by all these young Chicano, Mexicano, Latino lawyers from MABA who were there dressed to the nines, Saturday afternoon, a reception for this future city councilman, this future senator, the future secretary of state, and now the future U.S. senator. And I remember Alex being there, and he whispers to me, "Wow, I didn't think we were going to come to a place that was so GQ." And so that was the impression of MABA. GQ, professional, intelligent, prepared for the future, and the future is now. The future is Alex Padilla. It is with great honor that I introduce MABA's own Alex Padilla, the U.S. Senator from the state of California. Congratulations on receiving the Edward R. Roybal Award. No one more fitting to receive such a prestigious award than our U.S. Senator, Alex Padilla.
Thank you to the Mexican American Bar Association. I'm honored and humbled to receive the Edward Roybal Public Service Award. This award is particularly special to me. Edward Roybal built a legacy dedicated to public service and giving back to his community. He built a legacy that has paved the way for increased Latino representation at our nation's highest levels of office and has been a personal inspiration for me. He was the first Latino to serve on the Los Angeles City Council in more than a century. I first began my public service career on that same city council in 1999. He co-founded the Congressional Hispanic Caucus and became its first chairman. And because of him, I now get to be a part of that same caucus as a United States Senator. In 1962, he became the first Latino elected to Congress from California since 1879. And I'm now proudly serving as the first Latino from California in the United States Senate. I strive to honor Edward Roybal's life's work and legacy in my own public service, fighting for the communities that are too often left behind and working to build opportunities for others. I've had the honor of working at the municipal and statewide levels of government and leading NALEO, the organization founded by Roybal that has served as a national forum for Latino issues and opened doors for new generations of Latino leaders like myself. As California's first Latino Secretary of State, I work to make our elections more accessible and inclusive to bring more Californians into the democratic process. And now, as I embark on my new role as Senator, I will continue to build on the model of public service that opens doors for others, brings the voices of those often left behind, and that fights for the promise of the American dream for everyone. Thank you for all the work that you do, and thank you again for this very, very special honor. Please continue to stay safe.
I would like to welcome back Judge Serena Murillo to swear in our incoming President, Monica Guizar.
And now I will administer the oath to this year's President, Monica Guizar Eckhart. Monica, if you would please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly promise to faithfully execute the duties as president of the Mexican American Bar Association of Los Angeles County and to uphold its bylaws and promote its mission statement?
I do. Bienvenidos. Gracias por compartir esta tarde con MABA. On behalf of the 2021 Board of Trustees, I welcome you to MABA's 61st installation of Officers and Awards Gala. While I wish we could be in person at the Biltmore, I am comforted to know that we could gather virtually in the comfort of our own homes. Thank you to Cristina Perez for serving as our Mistress of Ceremonies this evening, and to Judge Serena Murillo for administering the oath to the board. Congratulations to tonight's honorees, and congratulations to the 2021 Board of Trustees. My name is Monica Guisar Eckert. I am a wife, mother, daughter, and lawyer in Los Angeles. I am the eldest daughter of Mexican immigrants, Enrique from Guadalajara, Jalisco, and Teresa, que en paz descanse, from El Ahuichote, Tepetongo, Zacatecas. My father, a retiree member of the Laborers International Union of North America, Local 300, and my mother, a garment worker and hairdresser, both of whom were not able to attain more than a third grade education, inspired me to help workers and immigrants. I learned from my parents the sacrifices that people will make to build a better life for their families. And it is why I have dedicated my career over 20 years to representing workers, immigrants, and labor unions. I am humbled to serve as a 2021 MABA board president. This year, our goal is to build on the tremendous work of the 2020 board. In particular, I extend my personal thanks to our outgoing president, Marisa Hernandez-Stern, for her extraordinary leadership of MABA during a global pandemic. We hope to continue our virtual programming, to provide educational and mentorship opportunities for law students, to continue to work to diversify the state and federal bench, to build bridges within MABA and with our sister bar associations, including the Latina Lawyers Bar Association, of which I am honored to have served as a past president, to advocate for the Latino community, and to ensure that MABA is a welcoming place for all Latinos. In 2021, we are also very proud to have awarded 8 Judicial Externship Program scholarships to 8 very deserving law students. Congratulations to each of you. We also plan to continue to award deserving Latino high school students scholarships this year. I am grateful to the many mentors, friends, and colleagues that have assisted me throughout my educational and professional career. Too many to name, but you know who you are. It is organizations like MABA that provide the connection and support for folks like me to help us advance within our professions. Dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres. Judge Tapia shared this dicho with our recent bar admittees during MABA's virtual swearing-in ceremony that was held in mid-January. And when he said it, it reminded me of my mom, who would always say that to me. If you're with MABA, know that you are in the company of a group of folks committed to service, advocacy, and advancing the rights of the Latino community. In closing, I would like to thank the Installation Committee and our MABA Administrator, Claudia Perez, for their excellent work in putting together MABA's very first virtual installation. And thank you to all of our sponsors for your generous support of MABA. Finally, I thank my husband, James Eckert, and my daughters, Isabella and Rebecca, for their continued support.
third award of the night is the Justice Cruz Reynoso Community Service Award. This award is given annually to members of the legal community and or public figures who have exemplified MABA's mission statement through their everyday work or community service efforts. This year, MABA is proud to honor Dr. Barbara Ferrer, Director of the County of Los Angeles Department of Public Health, a Latina who has served as Los Angeles' voice of reason and calm during this unprecedented pandemic. I would like to introduce Jacqueline Valenzuela, Chief Advisor of the County Health Officer, who will present the Justice Cruz Reynoso Community Service Award to Dr. Barbara Ferrer.
My name is Jackie Valenzuela, and I'm so lucky to call Dr. Barbara Ferrer my colleague, mentor, and friend. I met La Doctora, as we call her in my family, about 3 years ago when she first joined the LA County Department of Public Health. During this time, I've learned about her longstanding history of service to others as a community organizer, researcher, school principal, college professor, philanthropist, and as many of you know her, public health leader. Regardless of the role, like many of you and like Justice Reynoso, Dr. Ferrer brings with her a passion for justice and a desire to ensure everyone has the opportunities and resources needed to thrive. And while her name and her curly white locks have become increasingly recognizable during the COVID pandemic, Dr. Ferrer has been speaking truth to power for decades. She's used data to illuminate health disparities, such as differences in death rates among Black and white mothers and babies. And while pointing out the differences in data is not a unique public health approach, her elevating racism and discrimination as key contributors to toxic stress and worse health outcomes, as well as a lack of robust social and economic supports that lead to health and well-being for all members of society, including people of color and lower income communities, make her stand out in all the best ways possible. The COVID pandemic is yet another example of the continued need for equity. The grave consequences of this pandemic remind us, as Dr. Ferrer often does, that everyone can join the movement for justice. If you may recall, in December, Dr. Ferrer fought back tears as she reported one of the highest numbers of COVID-related deaths we'd seen in LA County. And while many of us don't have her fortitude to be the literal face of a historic public health response, each of us can find a way to contribute, whether money, time, or talent, to leave this world a little better than we found it. It's rare to engage with people who consider their profession not just a job, but a calling. Even more rare is the privilege to work with your heroes. I'm honored to have this privilege. With that, it brings me great joy to present La Doctora Barbara Ferrer with the Justice Cruz Reynoso Community Service Award. Congratulations, Dr. Ferrer.
Thank you so much for this tremendous honor of receiving the Justice Cruz Reynoso Community Service Award. To start, I want to thank Jackie Valenzuela for her kind introduction and, more importantly, for her compassionate leadership and commitment to advancing health equity. I feel so blessed to work with her and the entire amazing Department of Public Health team. From a young age, Justice Reynoso championed the rights of under-resourced communities, leading movements that fought against racial segregation in schools and advocated for agricultural worker rights. Throughout his impressive career, he served as a stalwart judicial leader, advancing the human rights for communities of color and those with less resources. I am humbled to receive this honor in his name. I am extraordinarily grateful to Monica Guisar and the Mexican American Bar Association for this recognition and their ongoing commitment to support and empower the Latinx community through advocacy and service. For more than 60 years, MABA has cultivated and promoted the professional development of our community's brightest lawyers, law students, and bench officers through community advice, mentorship, and scholarship programs. Congratulations to the newly appointed officers who will continue to guide this organization in the collective work to create a more just society. I'm thankful to be recognized amongst my distinguished colleagues, all of whom have spent decades as justice champions. I want to appreciate the Honorable Enrique Romero for his lifetime of service as an effective litigator and mediator. I am particularly grateful for his efforts to combat racism and hatred through his work within the Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice. I also want to thank Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, a staunch champion for immigration rights. Whether it's as the Director of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services or our new Secretary for Homeland Security, I am inspired by his leadership and recognition that our country is built on a belief in freedom, fairness, and opportunity. And we are stronger when everyone, regardless of your place of birth, has access to the resources needed to thrive. And of course, I, like so many others, owe a debt of gratitude to Senator Alex Padilla. Like Justice Reynoso and myself, he built the foundation of his career of service as a community organizer. In the various roles he has held, a city council member, a California state senator, and Secretary of State, he collaborated with partners to create, influence, and change policies that challenge the root causes of health, economic, and social inequities. He continues to lead our state and country in restoring the rights to vote, healthcare, and demographic representation, challenging the status quo that your nationality and criminal history are indicative of the opportunities your future should hold. And lastly, because there's nothing I have ever accomplished by myself, I owe a debt of gratitude to the many people who cared for me, patiently taught me, helped me get back on track, and were my eyes and ears when I didn't see the way forward. Mil gracias to my amazing family and friends and trusted county and community partners. For the past year, I've worked alongside community partners to do everything we can to slow the spread of a new and deadly virus that has ravaged our most vulnerable communities, our essential workers, residents and staff at nursing homes, Black, Brown, and Native families, and those who live in neighborhoods that for years have seen disinvestments in infrastructure and services. In recent weeks, we have begun to see overall rates of new cases, hospitalizations, and deaths decline. However, the gaps in health outcomes by race and ethnicity and community poverty levels continue, and this requires us to do more if we intend to make sure that COVID-19 doesn't perpetuate the many other health inequities that disproportionately affect people of color. On average, Native Hawaiians, Blacks, and Latinx communities are 2 to 4 times more likely to test positive, be hospitalized, and unfortunately die than white residents in LA County. And people living in communities with high poverty rates are 3 times more likely to die from COVID-19 than people who live in communities with little poverty. Racism and inequitable access to the resources needed for good health have played a significant role in the pandemic, as we have seen for many other health conditions. This heartbreaking disproportionality does not need to continue and ought not continue. We need to make sure that we're protecting our workers, especially low-wage workers, worker health councils, partnerships with labor unions, and strong actions against businesses that fail to comply with the health officer orders are essential pieces of this effort. It isn't enough to have testing and vaccines available. We need to make these resources easy for folks to access, and they need to be available from trusted community partners and providers. We must do a much better job offering services and support to those who need it most. Recognizing overcrowding and insecure housing serve as a risk factor during this pandemic, the county allocated additional housing to those needing to isolate and quarantine safely. But these housing inequities existed before this public health crisis. They will continue if we do not do more to protect renters against evictions, advance policies that support livable wages, and eliminate wage theft. We do need to continue to invest in our community partners and organizations so they can do what they do best: connect with residents, advocate for policy and practice changes, and share vitally important information on where there are risks and opportunities for more safety. It is our collective responsibility to sustain efforts that dismantle the discrimination and racism that limits opportunities and resources essential for optimal health and well-being for not only the Latinx community, but for all communities impacted by similar oppression. Cesar Chavez once said, "It is possible to become discouraged about the injustice we see everywhere, but God did not promise us that the world would be humane and just. He gives us the gift of life and allows us to choose the way we will use our limited time on earth. It is an awesome opportunity." Thank you so very much.
Now, for the last award of the evening, the Frankie Munoz Lifetime Achievement Award. This award is given annually to members of the legal community who have demonstrated excellence in the law. This year, we honor retired Judge Enrique Romero. I would like to introduce Sage Romero, daughter of Enrique Romero, to present the Frankie Munoz Lifetime Achievement Award to the Honorable Enrique Romero.
I'm Sage Romero, and it is with great honor and pleasure that I introduce this year's Frank Munoz Lifetime Award Achievement recipient, my father, Judge Enrique Romero. My dad is an eccentric private person, for those of you who may know him, and I'm sure many of you were not aware that he is a Mexican-born American from the resort town of Acapulco, Guerrero, Mexico. He was born in 1946, and at 10 years old, he and his family immigrated to this country. My father comes from a family of 7 siblings. The course of each of their lives changed unexpectedly when their father, who had a successful customs brokerage firm, was injured in a horrible car accident, leading them to seek medical attention in California. Once in college, my father never set out to go to law school, but he did set out, like many Mexican Americans of his generation, to challenge the status quo and the stereotypes that had been created in America. After graduating UCLA in the 60s and acquiring 2 bachelor's degrees, one in history and the other in Romance languages, my father went on to receive a master's degree in public administration with an emphasis in developing countries. Shortly thereafter, he moved to New York and worked at the United Nations on temporary assignment, before coming back to Los Angeles to work as an assistant librarian with the Los Angeles Public Library and a tax assessor with the County Tax Assessor's Office. He knew one day he would work in DC and eventually did, taking positions at the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare and the National Institutes of Health. In the early 70s, he moved to San Francisco to work as special assistant to the director of US Public Health Service. When the director retired, he suddenly found himself out of a job and, like many prospective law students, even today, decided to hedge his bets. In 1973, he had a JD from the University of San Francisco School of Law. After passing the bar exam that same year in California, he began working immediately as a tax attorney with a small tax practice, where he was encouraged to obtain a master's degree in taxation if he planned to become a tax lawyer. He moved back to Washington, D.C., was accepted to Georgetown University School of Law, and graduated with a master's in taxation. On his way back to San Francisco, an old friend introduced him to John Huerta, a California attorney who also happened to be Mexican-American. Huerta had been appointed as the Deputy Assistant Attorney General to Drew Days III. Drew Days was the Assistant Attorney General in the Civil Rights Division in the U.S. Department of Justice under Ben Chiavaletti, the U.S. Attorney General under the Carter administration. My father was offered a job in the U.S. Department of Justice, took it, and became involved in the revolution that was taking place in those days with the civil rights enforcement, housing discrimination, voting rights, disability discrimination, and the prosecution of civil rights criminals targeting hate groups such as the KKK, fighting police corruption in violation of civil rights by law enforcement. My father was offered a job in the U.S. Department of Justice took it and became involved in the revolution that was taking place in those days with civil rights enforcement, housing discrimination, voting rights, disability discrimination, and the prosecution of civil rights criminals, targeting hate groups such as the KKK, fighting police corruption, and violations of civil rights by law enforcement. After the election of President Reagan, my father moved to Miami and became Special Assistant United States Attorney in the Southern District of Florida, where he prosecuted major narcotics money laundering cases before once again moving back to Los Angeles. There, he served as Assistant U.S. Attorney for the Central District of California, working in the Organized Crime Major Narcotics Money Laundering Unit, where he remained until his appointment to the Los Angeles Municipal Court in April 1989 by Governor Duke Majan. He took various assignments there for 2 years before being elevated to the LA Superior Court by Governor Wilson, where he served for 8 years. Judge Romero had made it a point to sit in every department in the courts because he had always wanted a real sense of the work being done. He had assignments in traffic court, unlawful detainers in criminal courts, presiding over everything from preliminary hearings to death penalty cases, probate, juvenile delinquency, children's court, and direct civil assignment. He was a member of the court's executive committee and eventually became presiding judge in Compton. In 1999, Judge Romero left the bench for ADR. He now has his own mediation firm and is one of the founding members and owners of Signature Resolution, along with his partners Lou Meisinger, Richard Stone, Michael Latin, and Dario Higuchi. They're running a practice which has of late proven to be the most successful mediation and arbitration firm in Southern California. They have offices in downtown Los Angeles and Century City, and the firm has grown to fill it with some of the best full-time mediators and arbitrators in the business. There are now over 30 full-time mediators, along with a growing group of professional staff and case managers. My dad was truly a pioneer in the legal field and has taught me more in life than I sometimes feel I deserve to know. He truly has mastered the secret of passion and discipline. It is with great pleasure that I call on Judge Romero to accept the Frank Munoz Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you, MABA, and welcome to our home. Before I get started, I would also like to welcome and congratulate Dr. Barbara Ferrer, LA County Director of Public Health, U.S. Senator Alex Padilla, and Alejandro Mayorkas, Secretary of Homeland Security. It is an honor to be sharing the stage with each of you. As you know, I have dysarthria, which makes it difficult for me to speak. But this is the 21st century, and so we are lucky that there are other ways to communicate. With your patience, I still have the opportunity to communicate these words. I am honored to be the Frank Munoz Lifetime Achievement Award. I give my sincere thanks to the MABA board for their recognition of my life work. It is an honor to be here to receive this award. I also want to take this moment to thank my wife Minerva Zermino, and former educator in LAUSD, and their daughter Sage, who is the apple of her eyes and who chose to follow in her papa's footsteps and became a lawyer in 2018. All of what I have accomplished after leaving the U.S. Attorney's Office in 1989, over 30 years ago, would not have been entirely possible to the extent it is today, especially since I no longer have the sound of my voice. Your love and Sage's love and unconditional support is why I continue to choose to remain engaged, to have purpose, and to do what I enjoy. I thank you both. Last but not least, I thank my partners at Signature Resolution for their continued encouragement and support, and our staff and our group of affiliates. I received the surprising news that I would be the 2021 recipient of MABA's Lifetime Achievement Award on December 18, 2020 during our firm's Zoom holiday party. It was quite a surprising treat. It called my attention to the number of years I have been in the legal profession today, 48 years, from a lawyer to a judge. To private judge, I am a mediator and arbitrator now, and you may be wondering how it is that I can do my job without my voice. Well, it's the chat via Zoom that allows me to type words that appear on your computer screen, and most recently with the app called text-to-speech, which is what you are listening to now. It lacks some of my passion, especially for certain words, but it is fantastic. There is more than one way to communicate. It is that simple, and with a shift in mindset and perspective, I am good to go. With that said, if I have any advice to give to young lawyers, or any lawyer for that matter facing work challenges, part of the key to success in this profession is knowing that there is more than one kind of lawyer, one type of case, and that there are so many other opportunities within our own profession that you can decide to take. Especially if you realize that you want to continue to be a lawyer, but perhaps you are unhappy where you are at a particular time in your life. It is important that you speak your truth and that you do not allow yourself to become intimidated by those who are inflexible and refuse to see your talent and contributions. It is easy to give up on ourselves when one of our ideas doesn't work or we lose a case. Especially if you work with someone who sets limits on you based on your gender or their historical contrived stereotypes. It is sometimes easier to have an excuse to stop what we are doing without giving it a real chance. No matter what, let it be your choice, not someone else's. I hope I could be a small reminder and example of the importance for you to step up to the challenges of life, because we will all face them sooner or later and not just once. This is reality and it is your life to orchestrate. I have been in this profession for 48 years. I can truly say that I have gotten bored of what I do because I have never been afraid to try something new within the legal profession. I don't have the time or desire to worry about others' opinions of me, and I know there are plenty, but good, bad or indifferent, they are not mine, and I certainly don't make them part of who I am. Learn to listen, but also learn how not to take things personal. At the end of the day, I can say that I have done my best work with diligence and integrity, in part through the efforts of MABA. Although Mexican-American lawyers have been around for at least 100 years in our country, today we see people like me and you and Latinos sitting as state and federal judges, as justices and judges in state and federal appellate courts, and in state and U.S. Supreme Courts. In addition, we have people like us serving as district attorneys, state attorney generals, and even as attorney general in the U.S. Department of Justice. We have people like us who have opened their own law practices in just about every area of civil litigation, and who are partners in large corporate established large firms, who are in-house counsel in the entertainment field and corporate America, and even as mediators and arbitrators, not to mention elected officials in state and Congress, even the U.S. Senate. A lot of progress has taken place, but we cannot rest, and it is up to us, MABA and other organizations, to continue our struggle until we become truly integrated and considered truly full partners in the American dream. Again, thank you MABA for this great hone and recognition. Signature Resolution has been from day one a strong supporter and sponsor of MABA events, and we look forward to collaborating and recognizing the importance of support of diversity in law.
Now, we would like to invite our 2021 MABA Mexico President, José Guadalupe González Plasencia, to say a few words. Bienvenido, José.
Reciban, hermanos mavistas, amigos todos, una sincera felicitación por la conmemoración que el día de hoy nos reúne, reflejo del trabajo de mujeres y hombres que durante años se han entregado generosamente a la labor de enaltecer a nuestra comunidad, la comunidad latina. Previamente, dentro de este mensaje, quiero hacer énfasis en la situación que está viviendo el mundo en general respecto a la pandemia y a las cuestiones de salud. Finalmente, esta situación nos ha generado mucha incertidumbre y nos ha generado situaciones que nunca antes habíamos vivido, adversidades, pero hay cosas positivas dentro de las adversidades, como la fue el nacimiento de MABA Los Ángeles, la Mexican American Bar Association, capítulo Los Ángeles, la cual nace de las adversidades que enfrentaban la comunidad latina para esos años en esa ciudad y la representación que no tenían esas voces, por lo cual tenemos que estar finalmente alertas para saber qué tipo de situaciones vamos a generar o se van a generar dentro de estas adversidades. Saludo con especial gratitud a todos los amigos de MABA. El día de hoy no los quiero mencionar de manera personal, pero cada uno de ellos sabe a quién me refiero. En MABA México hago un atento saludo a nuestro hermano Joaquín Rodríguez Flores, quien desafortunadamente en meses pasados perdió la batalla frente a esta pandemia. Y también a nuestro hermano Ernesto Valdés, que también parte de la comunidad de abogados en México, desafortunadamente en días pasados también perdió la vida. Para los abogados de MABA Los Ángeles, saludo a todos y hago mayor énfasis a la galardonada, por supuesto, a la doctora Mónica Guízar, quien tendrá el alto honor de dirigir este importante proyecto. A dichos amigos reitero las gracias por todo su apoyo. MABA México existe gracias a sus gestiones, por su impulso, porque reconocemos y nos reconocemos como nuestros hermanos. Y no solamente es una cuestión del lugar de la gran mayoría de la que todos provenimos, sino de todo el esfuerzo y la generosidad que se han gestado para estar en este importante proyecto. Pues en mi condición de presidente de la Mexican American Bar Association es un alto honor dirigir estas palabras y saber que estamos bien, en hermandad. Cuenten con todo el apoyo en MABA México, en este y los demás proyectos. Soy José Guadalupe González Plasencia y para mí representa, sin duda, un alto honor en lo personal por mis orígenes, porque gracias al esfuerzo de personas que me dieron educación y valores, mis padres, estoy donde estoy como profesionista y finalmente dentro de un proyecto que amo y que se ha desarrollado por diversos profesionales durante todos estos años a favor de la comunidad. Pues bueno, estamos a la orden en México. Hoy desde la distancia les enviamos un cordial saludo, un afectuoso abrazo a todos los mavistas, a todos los galardonados, a todos los que colaboran en este importante proyecto. Enhorabuena, excelente día.
MABA's legacy endures because of its members, their selfless commitment and passion for our mission, law, and our communities. With love and commitment for each other, we remember the legacy of MABA members who have passed. It has been my absolute privilege to be with you this evening. I am honored to have hosted this event for MABA and honoring 4 exceptional Latinos. A special thank you to the 2021 board and President Monica Guizar, who put so much work to make this evening happen. Please remember to support and to continue supporting MABA. Donate. Go to our MABA webpage and press Donate Now. Our organization needs the support to continue doing and living up to its mission. We thought it would be fun to end the evening with a montage of MABA's past presidents. We asked each, in a word or a few words, to say what MABA is or means to them. Now, we know some of them are going to have a hard time, like Jim Blancarte, to describe what MABA is in a word or 2 words, but I'll start the train. For me, MABA is necessary.
MABA means friendship, fellowship, unity.
To me, MABA means collective empowerment and influence.
MABA is foundational, nourishing, enduring.
To me, MABA means service, advocacy, and empowerment.
What MABA means to me is unity, leadership, and advocacy.
MABA is advocacy, empowerment y familia.
Mis amigos, MABA es nuestro pueblo, MABA es nuestro talento y MABA es nuestro orgullo.
MABA means fearless, badass lawyers.
When I think of MABA, I think of familia, trailblazing, and good times.
To me, MABA is commitment, family, and support.
The three things that MABA has historically meant to me have been advocacy, leadership, and unity.
MABA means amistad, apoyo y orgullo latino.
Para mí, MABA siempre está apoyándonos y abriendo puertas.
MABA is comunidad, apoyo y familia.
MABA means culture in action.
MABA is strength through community.
To me, MABA means tradition, family, and excellence.
Con los